Welcome to Farming Aid. If you think modern cattle breeding has already reached its peak, think again. The real breakthrough isn't coming from another high-priced hybrid or intensive feeding system. It's coming from the wild. In this video, we're diving deep into the top 5 wild cattle species guaranteed to bulletproof modern herd genetics, uncovering how these powerful, naturally selected animals bring unmatched disease resistance, climate adaptability, fertility, and feed efficiency into today's herds. From extreme heat tolerance to survival on poor quality forage, these wild genetics hold the key to building stronger, more profitable, and low-maintenance cattle that can thrive where conventional breeds struggle. As climate change, rising feed costs, and disease pressure continue to challenge farmers worldwide, relying only on traditional genetics is becoming a risk. That's why forward-thinking producers are looking toward wild cattle species to inject resilience and long-term sustainability into their breeding programs. This isn't theory, it's a shift that's already transforming herds in some of the toughest environments on the planet. If you're serious about upgrading your herd, cutting costs, and future-proofing your farm, this is a video you don't want to miss. Want stronger, more resilient cattle that can thrive in any condition? Hit subscribe to Farming Aid and join a growing community of smart farmers discovering powerful, practical strategies to build profitable, future-ready herds. Stay with us as we break down these wild powerhouses and show you exactly how they can change the game for your farm. The first is the Gaur, often referred to as the largest wild cattle species on Earth. Native to South and Southeast Asia, this massive animal is not just about size. It's about raw genetic strength. Mature males can exceed 1,000 kilograms, but what really matters is how they achieve that mass. Gaurs thrive in dense forests with fluctuating feed availability, meaning their metabolism is highly efficient. They convert rough forage into body mass without the dependency on high-energy diets that many commercial breeds require. That alone makes them incredibly valuable in regions where feed costs are rising or pasture quality is inconsistent. Beyond that, Gaurs exhibit exceptional disease resistance. Living in environments where parasites and pathogens are constantly present, they have evolved robust immune systems that can be passed into hybrid offspring. When crossed carefully with domestic cattle, the result is often animals that maintain good growth rates while showing far fewer health issues. This is the kind of genetic reinforcement that reduces veterinary costs and improves long-term herd stability. Their temperament, while wild, can be moderated over generations, making them more manageable without losing their core advantages. Then there is the Bantang, a species that has already proven its value through domestication in parts of Indonesia, where it gave rise to Bali cattle. The Bantang brings something very specific to the table: extreme adaptability to low-input systems. These animals are built for survival on marginal land. They can maintain body condition on poor-quality forage where many commercial breeds would lose weight rapidly. That trait alone is a game-changer for smallholder farmers or anyone working in regions with seasonal feed shortages. But it goes deeper than that. Bantang genetics are associated with high fertility rates and strong maternal instincts. Cows tend to calve easily and raise calves successfully with minimal intervention. In practical terms, this means higher herd reproduction efficiency and lower labor demands. When integrated into modern breeding programs, Bantang influence often results in cattle that are smaller framed but incredibly efficient, producing more output relative to input. Their resistance to heat stress is another major advantage, especially as global temperatures continue to rise. They don't just tolerate heat, they function in it, grazing actively and maintaining productivity even when conditions become uncomfortable for other breeds. Moving into Africa, the African buffalo stands out as a completely different kind of genetic resource. While not traditionally used in cattle breeding due to behavioral challenges, its biological traits are impossible to ignore. This species thrives in environments filled with disease vectors, including those carrying tick-borne illnesses and other pathogens that devastate domestic herds. African buffalo have developed a level of disease tolerance that is almost unmatched. Their immune systems are highly adaptive, allowing them to coexist with diseases rather than succumb to them. For researchers and advanced breeding programs, this opens the door to exploring genetic markers associated with resistance. Imagine a herd that doesn't just survive disease outbreaks, but continues to perform through them. That's the kind of resilience that could redefine livestock management in many parts of the world. Physically, African buffalo are also incredibly durable. Their hooves, skin, and overall body structure are adapted to rough terrain and harsh conditions, traits that could contribute to stronger, more resilient domestic animals. While direct crossbreeding is complex and not widely practiced, the genetic insights gained from this species are already influencing how scientists approach cattle improvement. Another remarkable species is the yak, native to the high-altitude regions of Central Asia. Yaks are specialists in surviving extreme environments where oxygen levels are low and temperatures drop well below freezing. What makes them valuable for modern genetics is not just their cold tolerance, but their overall efficiency under stress. Yaks have a unique ability to utilize sparse vegetation and convert it into both meat and milk. Their metabolism is adapted to conserve energy, making them incredibly efficient in resource-limited environments. When crossed with domestic cattle, the resulting hybrids, often called zo or zomo, exhibit hybrid vigor that combines the hardiness of the yak with the productivity of cattle. These hybrids are known for improved milk yield compared to pure yaks, along with better adaptability than pure cattle in challenging conditions. Even outside high-altitude regions, yak genetics can contribute traits like strong lungs, efficient feed utilization, and resistance to cold stress. As climate variability increases, having animals that can handle both extremes of temperature becomes more valuable, and yak influence can help achieve that balance. Finally, the American bison represents one of the most successful examples of integrating wild genetics into modern livestock systems. Once nearly extinct, bison have made a strong comeback, and their role in beef production is growing steadily. What makes bison so compelling is their combination of hardiness, efficiency, and meat quality. They evolved on the North American plains, enduring harsh winters, hot summers, and constant movement in search of grazing. This has resulted in animals that are incredibly efficient at converting grass into protein. They require less intensive management, show strong resistance to disease, and can thrive in environments where conventional cattle struggle. When crossed with domestic cattle, the result is often referred to as beefalo, a hybrid that captures many of the bison's strengths while maintaining the manageability of cattle. These hybrids tend to produce leaner meat with lower fat content, appealing to health-conscious markets. But beyond meat quality, the real advantage lies in their resilience. They can graze in tougher conditions, withstand temperature extremes, and maintain productivity with fewer inputs. This makes them an attractive option for producers looking to reduce costs while improving sustainability. What ties all these species together is not just their wild origin, but the specific traits they bring into the genetic equation. Modern cattle breeding has often focused on maximizing output, whether it's milk yield or weight gain. While that has led to impressive gains, it has also created vulnerabilities. Many high-performance breeds require intensive management, high-quality feed, and controlled environments to reach their potential. Remove those conditions, and their performance can drop quickly. Wild cattle species offer a counterbalance. They bring in traits that have been shaped by survival rather than selection for production alone. This includes disease resistance, fertility under stress, efficient feed utilization, and adaptability to extreme climates. Integrating these genetics is not a simple process. It requires careful planning, understanding of breeding systems, and a long-term perspective. You can't just introduce wild genes and expect immediate results. There are challenges related to temperament, growth consistency, and market acceptance. But when done correctly, the payoff can be significant. You end up with animals that are not only productive but also resilient, capable of maintaining performance under a wider range of conditions. That's what bulletproofing herd genetics really means. It's about reducing risk, improving sustainability, and creating a system that can withstand the uncertainties of climate, disease, and market fluctuations. There's also a broader perspective to consider. As global agriculture faces increasing pressure to produce more with fewer resources, the value of resilience becomes even more important. It's no longer just about how much an animal can produce in ideal conditions. It's about how consistently it can produce across varying conditions. Wild cattle species represent a reservoir of genetic diversity that can help achieve that consistency. They remind us that strength in livestock is not just measured in output, but in the ability to endure and adapt. For anyone building or improving a herd, the takeaway is clear. Don't limit your thinking to conventional breeds and traditional selection criteria. Look at the bigger picture of what makes an animal truly valuable in the long term. Traits like disease resistance, fertility, and adaptability may not always show up immediately in production data, but they have a profound impact on profitability and sustainability over time. By tapping into the genetics of species like the Gower, Banteng, African buffalo, yak, and American bison, you're not just improving your herd, you're future-proofing it. And that's where the real opportunity lies. The future of cattle production is not just about pushing animals harder, but about making them stronger. It's about building herds that can handle stress, adapt to change, and continue performing when conditions are less than ideal. Wild cattle species offer a blueprint for that kind of resilience. They've already passed the ultimate test of survival. The challenge now is to harness that strength and integrate it into modern systems in a way that benefits both producers and the animals themselves. As we wrap this up, one thing becomes very clear. The future of cattle farming isn't just about chasing higher production numbers. It's about building animals that can actually hold up under real-world pressure. The 5 wild cattle species we explored are more than just interesting animals. They represent decades, even thousands of years, of natural selection working in the toughest environments on Earth. That kind of genetic strength can't be replicated quickly in controlled systems, and that's exactly why it matters. When you bring traits from these wild species into modern herds, you're not just improving performance on paper. You're creating cattle that can handle heat, resist disease, breed consistently, and survive on less. That translates directly into lower costs, fewer losses, and a more stable operation over time. It's a shift in mindset from pushing animals harder to making them tougher, more efficient, and more reliable no matter what conditions come your way. At the same time, this approach requires patience and strategy. It's not about replacing everything overnight. It's about carefully integrating resilience into your herd genetics so that each generation becomes stronger than the last. Farmers who understand this are the ones who will stay profitable and sustainable as challenges continue to grow. So if you're serious about future-proofing your herd, take a closer look at what nature has already perfected. These wild cattle species offer a blueprint for strength, adaptability, and long-term success that modern systems are starting to rediscover. And if you found this valuable, make sure you stay connected with Farming Aid for more practical insights like this. Because in today's world, the smartest farmers aren't just working harder, they're breeding smarter.